Welcome to the Wycomico Civic Center and today's special luncheon with Governor Wes Moore. I'm Bill Chambers, President and CEO of the Salisbury Area Chamber of Commerce. We're thrilled to have the governor with us. We're thrilled to have all of you here. I want to thank some companies that sponsored today's luncheon: Orsted, Purdue Farms, Delmarva Power, Chesapeake Utilities, Salisbury University, Mount Air, and the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. How about a round of applause for those sponsors, please? I want to welcome some of our elected officials that joined us today. State Senator Mary Beth Carrozza, State Senator Johnny Mounts, Speaker Pro Tem, Delegate Cherie Sample Hughes, Wycomico County Executive Julie Giordano, Wycomico County Council President John Cannon, Council Members Jeff Merritt, Josh Hastings, and James Wynn, Salisbury Mayor Jack Heath, City Council President Mira Boda, and Council Members Michelle Gregory, April Jackson, and Megan Alton. And from our Board of Education, Board Chair Gene Malone and Board Member David Plotz. How about a round of applause and thank you for those folks. And we also have Delegate Carl Anderton. Sorry, Carl, had you penciled it in. Quickly, before we introduce our special guest, something many of you don't know about, you're going to hear about in about 2 minutes. I want to invite up the Vice Principal of Bennett Middle School, Joanna Duncan. Joanna?
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for this opportunity to speak on behalf of the middle school students of Wycomico County Schools. I am Johanna Duncan, Assistant Principal at Bennett Middle School, and I'm here today to invite you to be heroes to the children of Wycomico County. I would like for you to pause for a moment and take yourself back to a time when you were in middle or junior high school. Now, maybe some memories may be fond and others may make you shudder. But I think we all can agree this was a critical time for positive relationships, often developed through sports that made a difference in our lives. Today, it is more important than ever for our youth to engage in healthy activities and develop positive relationships, and sports provide such opportunity. For the first time since the pandemic, Wycomico County middle schools are bringing back the intramural sports program. There are yes, we are equally as excited. There are 6 different sporting opportunities that not only refine the students' athleticism, but also help students develop teamwork, positive relationships, and leadership skills. Soccer, cross country, basketball, volleyball, and flag football will be offered in 5-week intervals with a culminating event at the end of each sport. We expect more than 1,500 middle school students across the county will participate, and all students, regardless of economic background or athletic skill, can participate. We need your help to make this program a success. To sponsor one sport for one school is approximately $600, but know that any support is welcomed. Sponsorship will be provided, and it will look like in the form of T-shirts as well as awards. Participants and winning teams. And trust me, when I tell you a T-shirt and a medal means a lot to a student, it means a lot to a student. Please consider being a sponsor and being a part of celebrating and creating memories for our students. Additional information is on your table. I appreciate your time, and thank you very much.
Well, I'm going to have the president of University of Maryland Eastern Shore join us to do a formal introduction, but thank you and welcome, Governor Moore. As many of you know, this was rescheduled from a December date we had, and I'm glad the governor's feeling better. We're happy and grateful to be here. And on behalf of our business community, Governor, we applaud your efforts in understanding the challenges our business face here on the shore. Many of these businesses just finishing a very challenging summer season. We look forward to working with you and your administration to foster a positive, proactive, and successful business climate statewide. And since we were slated to have this event on the beautiful campus at the University of Maryland Eastern Shore, in that spirit, please welcome Dr. Heidi Anderson to do a formal introduction for Governor Moore.
Bill, thank you very much. You got a good crowd out here, Bill. Let me begin by saying good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. It is indeed my honor and my pleasure to be able to introduce our governor to you today, a man who many of you will say needs no introduction, and I agree with you. But let me go ahead and introduce him anyway. Wes Moore is the 63rd governor of the state of Maryland. He is Maryland's first Black governor in the state's 246-year history. And yes, and he is only the third African-American governor in the United States history. That deserves an applause as well. Our governor was born in Tacoma Park, Maryland, and early on in his life, at about 3 years old, his father died of a very rare but untreatable virus. After his father's death, his family moved to the Bronx, where he lived with his grandparents until he was about 14 years of age. Governor Moore is a very proud graduate of Valley Forge Military Academy College, where he received his associate degree. After receiving his associate degree, he went on to earn his bachelor's in international relations and economics at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore, where he graduated Phi Beta Kappa. While at Johns Hopkins, he interned with the former mayor of Baltimore County, Mayor Kurt Schmoke, also a good friend of mine. Governor Moore was also the first Black Rhodes Scholar in the history from Johns Hopkins University. He earned his master's in international relations from Wolfson College at Oxford. From there, he was deployed in Afghanistan as a captain with the 82nd Airborne Division, leading soldiers in combat. Immediately upon returning home, Governor Moore served as a White House Fellow, advising on issues of national security and international relations. In 2010, many of you may remember this, our governor wrote a book, that book called The Other Wes Moore. Many of you may have read that, just as I did, to learn more about him. And this was a story that told about the very fragile nature of opportunity in America, which became a New York Times bestseller. He's gone on to write several other books, but he has also built a Baltimore-based business called Bridge EDU. This program reinvented the freshman year of college for underserved students to increase their likelihood of long-term success. It was Moore's commitment to taking on our toughest challenges that brought him to the Robin Hood Foundation, where he served 4 years as the CEO. During his tenure at the Robin Hood Foundation, he distributed over $600 million toward lifting families out of poverty, including those right here in Maryland. Also, while at the Robin Hood Foundation, even though it was headquartered in New York, Moore and his family never left Baltimore, so they stayed in their home right here. During his first year, this very past year as governor, he has already made great strides, supporting the Eastern Shore as well as the rest of the state, but especially our area here with millions of dollars, including my university, thank you, Governor, and he and the lieutenant governor have been on my campus and all across the shore, but several times they've already have visited with my campus and my students, and I want to thank him publicly for that. And finally, I think all of you will agree that his mantra, "Leave no one behind," is more than just a campaign slogan. This is truly a way of life for him, and we are so fortunate to have him as our governor. With that in mind, leave no one behind. Please join me in welcoming our great governor to the stage.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. Thank you, guys. Thank you, thank you. Bless you all. Thank you. Oh, it is good being back on the shore, boy. Before we start, can we please give it up for President Anderson and the remarkable work that she is doing over UMES? We are inspired by your leadership. We are thankful for the work that is taking place over in the Eastern Shore, University of Maryland, Eastern Shore right now. And I can tell you right now, it's not just a joy to support you and the work that you're doing. It's not just a joy to be your partner in this work. I can tell you right now, we are just getting started because your leadership matters and your success matters. So bless you and thank you so much. Thank you. And Bill, where did Bill go? Where'd he go? There he goes. I just want to say thank you because it's very clear that the reason that people are here today is not just because of a fantastic lunch. Even though this lunch is fantastic, and can we please give it up for all the people who, all the people who are serving, all the people who made the meals, all the people who made all this happen. But I tell you right now that the chamber is remarkably blessed to have a leader like you. Because in order for us to be able to move forward, it means not just that we have to move in partnership, it means we have to move in vision. And when we first came on board, when I first came on as the governor, we said that we have got to build a state that is more competitive. We've got to build a state that's actually supporting our businesses and our entrepreneurs. We have to build a state where we're teaching our young people how not just to be employees, but how to be employers. That we have to build a state that is not just going to support the entrepreneurial and the economic energy that takes place in the state of Maryland, but it's also being very intentional about the fact that I love the other governors. They're all very nice people. But I want to be clear, every time I go to one of their states, I'm bringing 3 businesses back with me. That this is Maryland's time to compete. This is Maryland's time to build. This is Maryland's time to win. This is going to be Maryland's decade, and the rest of the states just will look at us with awe. But it's going to happen because we're doing it together. It's going to happen because we're going to be intentional. It's going to happen because we have places like the Chamber of Commerce and business leaders and political leaders and nonprofit leaders and higher education leaders and K-12 leaders who all say in a united voice that it is our time. It's our time to get it right. And so I'm so thankful for the chance to be with you today because I'm incredibly excited just to come back and say thank you. Because, you know, when I first came on as the governor, I didn't come on with political experience. I don't come from a political family. I don't come from a political lineage. I came in as a person who had built a business, who led one of the largest poverty-fighting organizations in the country, a person who'd worked in communities and with communities for much of my professional adult life, a person who had led soldiers in combat. I did not come from a political background, but I just simply came with a vision and idea that we could build a powerful team and a powerful unit, that it's not just that it's Maryland's time to stand up, but that everybody was going to pay attention. And the fact that you all have been so wonderful and so kind and welcomed me with such open arms and welcomed this entire team with such open arms, I cannot tell you enough how much it means. And I also can't tell you enough that it's working, that people are paying attention. We're watching a growth and we're watching a build that we're excited about, but that we know we're not done. And so while I'm proud of the fact that we can come back here and report that within the first 8 months of this administration, not even 8 months actually, 7.5, but proud to report the fact that we're proud that over the past 7.5 months, that almost 31,000 new jobs have been created in the state of Maryland in 7.5 months. We're proud of the fact that we have made a very clear declaration on our ability to be able to move fast and lead in industries, and that includes making sure that Maryland is going to be the offshore wind capital of this country and that there's no reason for us not to be. that it's saying that we make historic investments in our education system, and that includes our higher education system, making historic investments in higher education, but also being very clear that while we have some of the best four-year institutions in America here in the state of Maryland, many of which on the Eastern Shore, I want to be very clear that we are going to end the myth that every single one of our students must attend one of them in order to be economically successful. And that's why we're investing in things like job retraining and job reskilling, working with our institutions of higher education like UMES to make sure that all of our students have a pathway to economic success and not just some of them. That we're working to increase liquidity, that of the 10 bills that we introduced in our first legislative session, which, by the way, you know, I'm a numbers guy. We went 10 for 10 on the bills that we introduced in the legislative session. And by the way, all 10 of those bills passed bipartisan, Democratic and Republican support on every single bill that we introduced in our first legislative session, and we're coming back for more in the next one. But proud that kind of push and that kind of legislation included things like access to capital and the Access to Banking Act, which is making sure that we can increase liquidity to our small businesses and increase liquidity to our communities, particularly those communities who have been historically left behind and left out. And being able to work in a new sense of partnership. And I'm so happy to see so many of our local elected officials, our state delegates here. I love being your partner. I love working in concert with you. Because I'm a very big believer in the idea that the people who are closest to the challenges, they're the ones closest to the solutions. They're just hardly ever at the table. That's going to change in this moment, and I'm proud to be your partner in this work. But I also know this. While we all can be proud of progress, progress is not inevitable. And we have to be honest about some of the things that we've got to address in this moment. Because another truth is that we have spent the past 8 months really looking under the hood of Maryland's fiscal health and looking under the hood of our economic engine. And the reality is we have to be honest about that fact that we've got work to do. Because as our budgets have gotten bigger over time, the problem is our economy has not. While our budgets have gotten bigger, our economy has not kept pace. When I first took office, the economy of the state of Maryland was nearly the same size as it was 4 years ago. Where over a 4-year period from 2018 to 2022, Maryland's economy has grown by 0.2%. The average state in this country during the same period of time has grown 7.5%. Where Maryland right now is ranked 47th in economic momentum. Where if you look at our state, our budget is around the same size as it was in 2018. But if you look to our neighbor to the north, look at Pennsylvania. Their budget over the same period of time has grown by $22 billion, while ours has stayed flat. So look, I am new to politics, but I'm not new to balance sheets. I know how balance sheets work. And there is a challenge with the way that Maryland's balance sheet is working right now. And I know this, the balance sheets don't lie. And numbers are very clear. Because in our state, we have some of the best assets and some of the best talent in the state of Maryland. I would not trade our assets for anyone in this country, and primarily the assets that we have here on the Eastern Shore. But I also know that if we are not investing in our assets, if we are not seeing our assets, if we're not pushing forward to make sure that we are known for our assets, then they are not assets that are going to be cherished in the same way that they should be. We can be a state that has a dynamic economy. We can be a state where our finances are actually going to support our ambition. We can be a state that actually has an opportunity to unleash a measurement of economic dynamism, where our small businesses have a chance to grow and thrive, where we can invite large businesses to want to become part of the larger economic movement, economic momentum, where we're harnessing the already great assets that we have and get them all moving in the same direction. But that takes intentionality in how we invest, in how we partner, in the work that we do. Because growth is a choice. Intentionality is a choice. Now, my administration is about to enter into fall budget negotiations, and as we engage in those discussions, we need to and we will make sure that we are prioritizing our economic strength. So the good news is that we are not starting from zero. The good news is that in partnership with so many of our members here, members of the General Assembly, our local elected officials, that there's been real progress and real momentum, and I think the foundation for true partnership has been built, and we're excited to continue building on that. Where if you look in the first 6 months of the administration, we were able to work in partnership to do things like building out new segments and sectors of our economy, everything from the future of AI to the future of quantum computing, and making sure that our students actually have a chance to compete and be part of those industries. That in our first 6 months, we were able to create the first ever. Maryland is now the first state in this country that is offering a service year option to our high school graduates. So when they graduate from high school, they have a chance to serve their state, because service is sticky and service will save us, and giving young people a chance to have a measurement of economic buffer and earned economic cushion is going to be the pathway for long-term success. And while Maryland is the first state in the country to do this, I guarantee you it will not be the last. That in our first 6 months, we were able to make sure that Maryland is now the first state in this country that provides a pathway for free dental care and free health care for members of the National Guard. Gone are the days when you have a person who's willing to put on the uniform of this country and to represent our state and has to worry about dental care. Where we've supercharged our clean energy goals. And I want to thank our friends from Ørsted for the work that they are doing and working to bring clean manufacturing jobs to the Eastern Shore. That we've shown that working together, we can actually build out new avenues of economic growth and prosperity that sees everybody and not just some. That every single part of our state needs to be represented. And by the way, showing that we can be bold, we can make big investments and also be fiscally responsible, because all those things I just mentioned, we did all that and still kept $2.5 billion in the rainy day fund. So do not tell me that being bold or being fiscally responsible is a choice. We can and we will do both in our time. But this does mean that we are now hitting a point that we've got to be smart. We've got to be responsible. That we're going to build for our future while also making sure we're protecting our present. That we are going to address the economic realities with a real clear-eyed focus on what it's going to take to get done. So all of you know, I am very and I'm deeply optimistic about the future of our state. I love this state with all my heart. Everything about it. And I tell anyone who will listen to me. But that optimism is not built on blind faith. That optimism is built on hard facts. The facts are on our side. That we have the tools and the assets that we need to make sure that we are going to win this moment. That we are home of some of the greatest institutions of science and healthcare and education and commerce in the world. That I will put our workers against anybody else, and that includes everyone from our tech entrepreneurs to our watermen and our fishermen. Yes, we can give a shout out to our watermen and our farmers and everybody everybody who understands that they are part and a core part of our larger economic engine. That we are home to some of the most beautiful tourist destinations and recreation centers in the world, including right here on the Eastern Shore. And it's the reason that we are going to support the tourism industry in the Eastern Shore and make sure it can grow and thrive, because I want as many people around the country knowing that if you want a place to have a great time, come to the Eastern Shore. I want this state to be the headquarters of the 21st century. I want this place to be the engine. I want our state to be the place that everybody is talking about and the place that everybody is moving to. Now, I know we need to take care of some traffic congestion, and we're going to do all that while we do that. But we have got to use this opportunity to actually seize this moment. And I know we can do it. And I know we're going to get there. And I know we're going to get there together. Because the thing that I also know is that while partnership is important, partnership is a two-way street. I can't just ask that from you if our administration is not willing to give it back. That everything that I'm asking, we're willing to give it right back, and we're more than willing to meet you halfway. And I know that presence matters. It means showing up. It means being present. And that there's a power in the presence. And why I'm proud of the fact that while I am sorry I wasn't feeling well in the last time, but I promise you I'll get back. And this today now marks, in just 7 months as governor, my 18th visit to the Eastern Shore. That when we said we were going to build an administration that every single part of our state is seen and every single part of our state is heard, and people can look up at this administration and say, I see myself, that includes from every part of our state. And I'm proud of the fact that I'm here today with our remarkable Secretary of Housing and Community Development, Secretary Jake Day. I remember when I was going through the process, I spent a lot of time thinking about every single one of these selections. And I was like, Jake has done a really, really good job in Salisbury, and I hope they don't hate me. But I need for the whole state to benefit from his leadership, and we are so proud that the entire state is benefiting from your leadership, Secretary. Thank you. But we are not slowing down, guys. This is our pace. And when people said during the campaign trail, they're like, you guys are showing up a lot. You guys are everywhere. The answer I always gave was, get used to it. This is how we move. And we're not stopping. Because in order for it to be Maryland's time, it means this is the pace that we're going to move at. We are just going to outwork everybody. And when we do, we're going to win. But we're going to win because we're going to make sure that every single part of our state feels seen. That every single part of our state feels heard. That every single part of our state understands how important they are to the larger build and to the larger goals of what it is that we are hoping to accomplish. So I need you. I need your ideas. I need for all of us to have collective goals. Because when the story of our state is written, a core part of that story is going to be about the miracles that are happening on the Eastern Shore. And we are going to make sure of that. So I want to thank you again for having me here. I want to thank you again for welcoming me every single time. I want to thank you for welcoming our team. I want to thank you for leading, because this is going to be our moment to get it right. And I promise you, in partnership, we will. So bless you guys. And thank you so much for all your continued support. Thank you.